So you want to become a motorcycle content creator? Well, there's plenty of ways to do this. In today's YouTube video, I'm going to show you the multiple different ways on how you can become a motorcycle content creator. But before we get into this video, I want to explain a couple things. Now, a couple really big things about being a motorcycle content creator are, before we get into the whole video, you should 100% learn how to ride a motorcycle first. You should take the MSF course and you should learn all the fundamentals of riding a motorcycle before you even think about getting into the content part of riding a bike. Now, I know it can be very exciting to get into the motorcycle content area because all we do is watch YouTube, all we do is watch TikTok, and we see these videos of all these people having so much fun making content. Now, that's a great point. That is a very good point, but all these people making content, including myself, have been riding for a good amount of time, for a long period of time before they started making content. Making content on a motorcycle makes things 10, 20, 30 times more dangerous than just riding a motorcycle, and riding a motorcycle itself is super dangerous just by itself. The second thing that I want to go over about making motorcycle content is you want to be very careful what you post online. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people out there that post themselves going 100+ miles an hour while they're riding their motorcycle on the highway. Now, this could look fun and this could look cool and you could like watching that kind of content, but let me tell you one thing. One very important thing about posting that kind of content on the internet is that if law enforcement or anybody saw you actually doing that and they could figure out the area and you, and they could figure out your identity, then you could be at risk to going to jail or getting in trouble. There's been a lot of content creators that get in a lot of trouble because of the things that they post on the internet. And the last thing that I want to talk about before we get into the whole video is that making content is not easy. I post 12 times a day and I edit everything by myself. I don't have anybody to help me, which is fine. I'm not asking for help and I'm not asking for a round of applause, but I'm just saying you can't just expect to post one motorcycle video every so often and expect to get famous on motorcycle TikTok. I can confidently say that I get over 1 million views a week on YouTube and over 2 million views a week on TikTok, and that's simply just not enough. You need to get a lot more views than that. Okay, so now we got those 3 things out of the way. Let's get into making content on a motorcycle. There's multiple different ways that you can do this. Let's go over the first way of making content over the motorcycle. You can get a GoPro onto your chin. As you can see here, I'm wearing a helmet just like you should be every time you ride. And now I'm gonna show you guys the setup that I'm using to talk in my videos. So obviously when you guys see the content where I'm using my GoPro and it looks like I'm using a POV camera and I'm riding my motorcycle, the setup that I'm using is a GoPro Hero 13, which is the newest model of the GoPro, but any model of the GoPro will work. And then I have a media mod attached to my GoPro. This is gonna allow me to put a wired mic into the back of the GoPro, and then I have the wired mic wired through the padding of my helmet. Now, the padding of my helmet, I took the padding out, wired the mic through the padding of my helmet, and I stopped the actual microphone here or here on my helmet, and that allows me to talk without yelling all the time, and it allows my microphone to pick up everything without hearing me breathe 24/7, which is a great thing. That is called a POV setup when you want people to watch you POV ride your motorcycle in your point of view. The other option of making motorcycle content is you could put your phone on a tripod, just like mine is now. My phone is on a tripod, and I'm using a DJI Mic 2. It's a wireless mic to pick up the audio that's attached to my phone, to me. So that being said, if I wanted to walk all the way over here, I would do just fine doing so, and you guys can hear me perfectly fine. That's the best thing about the DJI Mic 2. I can do whatever I want. I could dance, I could sing. You guys will hear me perfectly fine. This allows me to make motorcycle content and tell you all about my motorcycle while being away from my phone, but I'm not worried because you guys can still hear me just fine. And now let's get into the last way of becoming a motorcycle content creator. You guys will see this way a lot on TikTok and Instagram because it's the trendy way to make content right now. A lot of people have an Insta360, which is a 360 action camera. And what they will do is they will buy the 360 stick mount and they will mount it on the back of their bike so that you see a stick coming up from the back of their bike. This allows you to catch everything 360 around you on your motorcycle, which most of the time brings you pretty good content because things crazy are usually happening around you. Again, people usually use an Insta360 360 camera and mount it on the back of their bike for that. Now, there's not really a good way to capture audio except for using the actual mount, which does a good job of capturing audio. The camera itself does a good job, but you have to connect some sort of wireless mic like this if you wanted to get your actual human being audio. Those are the top 3 ways to make motorcycle content, and that is how to become a motorcycle content creator. Thank you guys for watching this video, and don't forget to leave a like.